So here's the big question going on right now for the Carolina Hurricanes, Graham. This is the big thing right now is free agent frenzy. And it's not even necessarily a free agent move. It's a possible trade that the Carolina Hurricanes are making right now.
Yeah, it's still in discussion. Eric Tulsky was supposed to speak with the media at 3, but for all you know, he might still be in a room making negotiations with the New York Rangers front office.
Well, it's also potentially with the New York Rangers front office, but also you're looking at possibly with the representation and the agents of KAndre Miller himself. Because the report came out earlier from Elliot Friedman of Sportsnet a couple hours ago, Graham, said, hey, the Carolina Hurricanes are working on a deal to get KAndre Miller, the defenseman from the New York Rangers. Now, the question is, what's the compensation? We're not entirely sure what the compensation would be. So, following what Vince Mercogliano posted this on social media, posted it on X, Twitter, whatever. I had someone say, don't call it X. I'm like, well, that's what it's called. Anyway, posted on social media, who's a New York Rangers reporter for the USA Today. He's also on-air analyst for SNY TV discussing the New York Rangers. So Vince Mercogliano, about an hour ago, said, sounds like the KAndre Miller trade return will center on draft pick compensation, according to a source. Carolina holds 2 first-round picks next year, with the New York Rangers eyeing one of them. I'm totally okay if it's draft pick compensation for KAndre Miller, because that means the Carolina Hurricanes don't have to give up anyone on their roster in order to get him. And this is actually something that Eric Tulsky talked about on Friday last week, Graham, if you remember correctly. Right after the first round of the NHL draft, a lot of people were questioning about, just this is kind of league-wide, is that we didn't see a lot of players get traded during the first round for draft picks, is because most teams were looking for players in return. If I'm going to make a trade, I want a player back. If I'm going to give a player to you, I want a player back. So that's why we didn't see a whole lot of trades. Now, with a player like Vladislav Gavrikov signing a 7-year deal at $7 million with the New York Rangers, the defenseman coming over from the Los Angeles Kings, well, KAndre Miller was expendable, for lack of a better term. Someone that they're willing to move on from, because the Rangers knew that they could get something for KAndre Miller. Now, KAndre Miller is a restricted free agent, and he does have arbitration eligibility. Now, if the Carolina Hurricanes just wanted to sign him to an offer sheet, the offer sheet range would have to be somewhere between $2.34 million and $4.68 million, because that would send a second-round pick to the New York Rangers if the Rangers did not match that offer sheet that the Carolina Hurricanes would sign him to. The Carolina Hurricanes don't have their third-round pick in 2026, so that kind of limits what they can do in terms of offer sheets. But that's what, if Carolina wanted to go the offer sheet route. But again, KAndre Miller was someone who the Rangers were willing to move on from, especially that they signed Gavrikov from the LA Kings. Either way, if they let KAndre Miller sign an offer sheet somewhere or traded him, they would get compensation back in some way, shape, or form. And I think if you're the Carolina Hurricanes, that's okay. Like, I'm totally fine. If you want the lesser of the 2 first-round picks next year for KAndre Miller, if the Carolina Hurricanes are able to sign KAndre Miller to a contract extension for the next, 4 years, fine. Would it be the first time, by the way, that the Carolina Hurricanes have traded a first-round pick for a New York Rangers defenseman? Y'all remember Brady Shea?
Yeah, he turned out pretty good for the Carolina Hurricanes.
Played well for the Canes. Came over. Does this sound familiar? Kind of fell out a little bit of favor in New York. Maybe had some New York Rangers fans not big, super excited of him. Felt like he kind of underachieved a little bit. Had several years left on his contract. The Carolina Hurricanes traded for him using a first-round pick. And guess what? Turned out pretty well for Carolina, didn't it? Have, 5 pretty good years here in Carolina? End up signing a big contract as a free agent last year with Nashville. And guess what? Nashville was not good this year. maybe you can find that again when it comes to KAndre Miller. Here's something to keep in mind about KAndre Miller. Again, I'll quote Ryan Hinkle from the Hockey News. Did a great job, I think, bringing this up. I think he summed it up quite well. Okay, so Ryan Hinkle posted this. You can give him a follow at Ryan Hinkle. Again, he summed it up quite well, so I'm going to give credit where credit is due. KAndre Miller is a 6'5" defenseman who's a terrific skater with good transitional skills, an active stick, and physicality, all things Carolina looks for in a defender. They need more offense from the blue line, so he makes a lot of sense here. Struggles with gap control and defending off the rush, but the Canes hope they can remedy some of that, obviously. So again, that's from Ryan Hinkle. He summed it up perfectly right there, what KAndre Miller is. Again, he's just 25 years old. 25-year-old player you hope is still continuing to grow and get better.
And he also has the size of a Brent Burns currently.
Yeah, in terms of height, he's about 15 pounds less or whatever it is, but 6'5", physical player, can skate. Like, your defense is going to get faster. You have him and Alexander Nikishin coming into the mix with Brent Burns and Dmitry Orlov going out. So I got bigger, I got faster, I added physicality, and I got younger. That sounds like win-win-win. Especially, again, the guy like KAndre Miller that can put up offense. At least contribute offensively as well. Here's the question, though, going forward. Well, there's actually two major questions. One, does the deal get done? My guess is, Graham, that the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Rangers have agreed upon the compensation for the trade, but it might just be coming down to have the Canes reach an agreement on a contract with KAndre Miller that they're comfortable with. That's probably it. Like, hey, look, if we're going to get KAndre for a 4-year contract at this price point, well, then this is what we're willing to give up for a 4-year deal. If we're only going to get him for 2 years, well, then I'm not going to give you as much. And then the New York Rangers might be a little bit hesitant to give him up then, because there might be someone else might be trying to trade for him. Who knows? Or an offer sheet might be coming on the table from another team. All things that have to be taken into consideration. But let's go the hypothetical, Graham. This is sports media, right? Let's go to the hypothetical. Let's say the Carolina Hurricanes do get KAndre Miller in a trade for, let's just say a first-round pick. It doesn't matter what it is. But they get KAndre Miller on their team. Who does he skate alongside? That's a big question because he's a left-handed defenseman. They already have left-handed defensemen in Alexander Nikishin, Jacob Slavin, Shane Gostisbehere. Right-handed guys, which generally you like to play on the right side of a defensive pair. You have Sean Walker, you have Jalen Chatfield, and then there's a void. Because, again, that's where Brent Burns used to be. So does KAndre Miller, is he capable of playing his offside as a lefty on the right side of the ice? There's some different advantages and there's some different challenges when playing on your offside. As a hockey player myself, I'm a left-handed shot. I hate playing. I'm a forward. I hate playing on the right side. I do. So I hate taking passes off my backhand. I just don't like it. But some guys are way more comfortable with that than I am. You see plenty of guys that are more than comfortable playing on their off wing. Or in this case, you're offside as a defenseman. So there can be some advantages to both. Now, if you're playing alongside Jacob Slavin and you have KAndre Miller, well, I got the ultimate guy that's going to be my safety net for me back there, which would allow KAndre Miller to use his legs and get up in transition and carry the puck up the ice and be a threat and jump up and be active along the blue line. The Carolina Hurricanes are known for having point production from their blue line, but last year we just didn't really see it. We didn't get a whole lot from Brent Burns. Shane Gostisbehere obviously contributed a lot, much of that coming on the power play, but we didn't quite see it as much on their blue line last year. Now, granted, Brady Shea was a 17, 18-goal scorer a couple of years ago. He left in free agency. Brent Burns just didn't have the offensive production, wasn't playing on the top power play unit, so we didn't see quite the production offensively. Maybe that's something KAndre Miller can provide. Again, he has all the physical skill set that you want in a Canes defenseman. Now, again, it's some of the small stuff in terms of defending off the rush and some other things, which I will say this when it comes to pro sports, is that You have coaches for those things. If you feel like a player is capable of achieving something, then obviously the player has to work hard in order to not only implement those things, but that's also where coaching comes in. Like, coaching does matter still, folks. You can still work on individual skills. If you go look at Shane Gostisbehere with Detroit a couple years ago, or even a couple of years that he had with Arizona, some of his defensive metrics weren't that good. But then you go, that's like, for example, just this past season, have one of his, statistically, in terms of some of the advanced numbers and such, one of his best defensive seasons of his career. A player that's not known for being a quote-unquote great defender, even though he's a blue liner. I like Shane Gostisbehere a lot. KAndre Miller, younger and a way faster skater. Quicker skater, and a much bigger guy. Again, 6'5", 210. I got Alexander Nikishin, who's built like a truck and can skate well, also coming in. All things that you have to like if you're a Carolina Hurricane fan. He fits the mold. Can he piece it together? That's a major question. Graham, has he signed yet? Has his trade gone through yet?
Still nothing.
Okay. All right, this actually comes from Ryan Hinkle. Okay, so this is how you know they're cooking up something, Graham. So Ryan Hinkle, who I just referenced from the Hockey News, covers the Carolina Hurricanes. So Eric Tulsky, the Carolina Hurricanes general manager, was set to speak around roughly 3 o'clock today to the media at the Lenovo Center. Ryan Hinkle just posted 6 minutes ago, quote, "We were supposed to talk to Eric Tulsky today around 3 p.m. We were just told it could be another 1 to 2 hours." Which means Eric Tulsky's cooking. Let Tulsky cook. Let Tulsky cook. Let the man cook. Let the man cook.
I wonder if whatever offer was presented to him, he said, I don't think so.
Maybe.
Try it again. Revise that.
Maybe.
Move this colon over here.
There's all kinds of things that could be at play here. You never know. You could be on the phone with Nikolai Ehlers for all we know. We don't know. We'll figure it out. That's why you guys stay locked in here, folks. Now, here's the thing. Keep this in mind. Stankoven signed a contract extension, obviously, as we know, 8-year contract extension on top of the final year of his entry-level contract. So he's with the team for the next 9 years. Canes haven't made any other moves today other than that. Now, granted, there haven't really been outside of Brock Besser staying in Vancouver for 7 years at $7.25 million. Gavrikov, Vladislav Gavrikov, going to the New York Rangers for 7 years. I mean, there really hasn't been a whole lot of major moves. So we'll see. We'll see what all is going to come from this. But I'm curious what's going to happen. But Mikael Granlund is still out there. We also have, again, Brock Besser signed with the Vancouver Canucks, re-signed with them. But Brock Besser, again, not Brock Besser, but Nikolai Ehlers still floating around out there. Mikael Granlund still floating around out there. It's been a lot of kind of fringe moves for a lot of teams. Like, like you're seeing a lot of like the fourth line, third line, bottom pair defenseman, maybe a second pair defenseman type stuff going on because it's a very shallow free agent pool. We'll say that. We'll see what happens here.